Seowon, Korean Neo-Confucian Academy, is an educational institution established in the Joseon Dynasty, based on the philosophy of Neo-Confucianism. Seodang, which comes to mind most familiar to educational institutions in the Joseon Dynasty, is an elementary education institution, and rather than a specific building, it used the teacher's guest room and a space specially provided by the village. Hyangyo is a national higher education institution, and Seowon is a private higher education institution. And Seongyungwan is a graduate-level educational institution. Neo-Confucianism was established by Ju-hee of the Song Dynasty and introduced to Korea by Anyang during the reign of King Chungnyeol of Goryeo, and became the ideological foundation of the nation when Joseon was founded by Jeongdojeon. As a branch of Confucianism, Neo-Confucianism is an abbreviation of 성명의리 지학. This means studying 성, 명, 의, 리. It is a metaphysical idea about the fundamental principles of the universe and the human mind. Sosu Seowon is the first Seowon in Korea and is located in Naejungri, Sunhungmyeon, Yeongju-si, Gyeongsang-buk-do. Originally, this was the place where there was a temple called Suksusa, built during the Silla dynasty, and where Anyang played and studied when he was a child. The Dangan-jiju, remaining at the entrance of the Seowon, tells the traces of Suksusa. Dangan-jiju means the pillar that supports the pole on which the flag called Dang is hung. It is built in front of the entrance of a large temple or daeungjeon, and a Dang is hung to mark the temple or to announce a big event. Suksusa was closed when the Sunhungbu related to the restoration of Danjong movement was abolished during the reign of King Sejo of the Joseon Dynasty. However, while the Sosu Seowon was built, the Danganji, the vestige of the temple, was left intact. In addition, there are some traces of Suksusa in Sosu Seowon. Most Seowons were located in cozy places, facing a flowing river in front, and surrounded by mountains in the back. This is reflected in the so-called 천일합일 in Neo-Confucianism, in which nature and human beings, environment, and mind are integrated into one. 천인합일 literally means harmony between nature and humans. Sosu Seowon also has Sobek Mountain on its back and faces the place where Jukgae Stream, the source of the Nakdong River, flows. There is a tall building called Gyeongnyeomjeong in front of the main gate of the Seowon. This is a place where students wrote poetry and discussed academic studies, and it has the meaning of paying tribute to the Neo-Confucianism scholar Yeomge Judoni. The word Yeom in Gyeongnyeomjeong means Yeomge. In front of the Seowon, there is Jukgaecheon, which flows down from Mountain Sobek. On the rock across the Jukgaecheon stream, the character Gyeong is engraved to emphasize the posture of the scholars when they practice their spirituality. Also, the handwriting of Li Hwang, which reveals the name of Baekundong, is engraved on it. 경 is a word emphasized to mean correcting the body and mind in Neo-Confucianism, and means concentrating on work, unifying in mind and body. This is the most emphasized word in Neo-Confucianism. Juseong probably wanted the students studying at Sosu Seowon to look back and polish their bodies and minds while looking at the word of 경 engraved on the rocks. 백운동, engraved on it, was written by Li Hwang to reveal the original name of Sosu Seowon. According to the story, all Buddha statues were thrown away in Jukgaecheon while the Suksusa temple was closed, and ghosts were heard every night. So, Juseong painted the character 경 in red and offered a memorial ceremony, and from then on, the crying of the ghost stopped. The name of the main gate is 지도문, which has the meaning of a set of will and move forward toward duty. When you go through this door, the first building you see is Ganghakdang. In the 36th year of King Jungjong's reign, Juseong, who took office as governor of Bungi, enshrined Anyang's portrait and built a sawan named 백운동 on the east side of the shrine. The name 백운동 was adopted from the 백록동 sawan by Juhi of the Song Dynasty. In the third year of King Myeongdong's reign, Li Hwang, who took office as governor of Bungi, requested the government for legal recognition and policy support for the sawan, and received saek, which is Sosu Seowon. The name Sosu Seowon does not mean that it is a place where a small number of students are taught, but rather that it established a context by connecting the already broken schooling. 사익 서원 is a sawan in which the king bestowed the name, signboard, books, land, and slaves, and even granted special privilege such as tax exemption and immunity. Sosu Seowon is the first sawan and the first 사익 sawan in Korea. There were 10 students in Sosu Seowon, but after becoming a 사익 sawan, the number of students increased to 30. A total of 4,000 Confucian scholars studied here. Myeongyundang, a lecture hall, is located in the center of the sawan and is divided into a yard related to the lecture space on one side and a yard related to the ritual space on the other side. In the back of Ganghakdang, there are 직방제 and 일신제. And on the right are 학구제 and 지락제. If you look closely, each building has a different base height. The base of Ganghakdang is the highest, and the base of 지락제 is the lowest with a single stone floor. This is the spirit of Confucianism, which shows the difference between the building where the master and the seniors and juniors live. On the left side of Ganghakdang is the 문성공묘. Unlike other buildings, the perimeter is surrounded by a wall, which shows that it has a status that cannot be easily violated by anyone. 문성공 is a posthumous epithet of Anyang. If 충무공 is the best title that a military person can receive, then 문성공 is the best title that a literary person can receive. Also, most of the shrines in Korea use the 사당사, but the 문성공묘 of Sosu Seowon raised the rank by using the 사당묘. Centering on Anyang, this place enshrined Anyang's descendants Anchuk, younger brother Anbo, and Jusebung on the left and right. Jusebung set the standard of Seowon in Korea by stating, without a shrine, there cannot be a Seowon. So in every Seowon in Korea, there must be a shrine along with the lecture space. The teachers and students of the Seowon held ancestral rites to the saints who made great achievements in Neo-Confucianism in order to nurture their bodies and minds. Unlike Hangyo or Seongyung관, the shrine of a Seowon contains the identity of a Korean Seowon, not by Confucius or Juja, but by consecrating the great Confucian scholars who made great contributions to the development of Korean studies and ancestors who gave their lives for the country. A sacrificial rite, one of the two major functions of a Seowon, along with the study of Neo-Confucianism, is roughly divided into 향사 and 분향. 향사 is a formal ritual for Seowon, held in spring and autumn every year. On the other hand, 분향 was a simple ritual in which only incense was burned, not food, and was performed on the first day of every month and on the full moon. Seowon in Korea is a fusion of school and religious functions. Religion here is not the concept of believing in someone and wishing for blessings, as in today's religion, but rather the meaning of paying respects to the saints or people who have made a great contribution to the country and imitating them as well. It can be said to be the spirit of Neo-Confucianism that develops the body and mind. The shrine dedicated to Anhyang was built first, followed by the Ganghak buildings later. At the forefront, there is a Gyeongnyeomjeong where students read poetry and discuss their studies. And there is a Jeonmun, and a typical Seowon has a pavilion like Gyeongnyeomjeong on the second floor above the Jeonmun. If you enter through this door, there is a lecture hall. The name of the lecture hall of Sosu Seowon is Myeongyundang, and there is a signboard for Baekundong outside the building and a signboard for Sosu Seowon inside the building. In the back of Myeongyundang, there are buildings called Jikbangje and Ilsinje, and buildings called Hakguje and Jirakje, where the students live. 장서각 is a place where books necessary for studying and engravings for making books are kept. And next to it is 문성공묘, a shrine dedicated to Anhyang. And there is a building called 진사청 behind or next to the shrines of all Seowons. This is the place to store the items necessary for the shrine, ancestral rites, and prepare food for sacrificial rites. At the back of the Seowon is 영정각, which is another characteristic of Sosu Seowon. Most of the Seowon have only a shrine and do not have the 영정각. Centering on the portraits of Juhi and Anhyang, the portraits of Homok and Iwonik, Jusebung and Lee-deok-hyung are enshrined on the left and right. It may be surprising that there is no portrait of Lee Hwang, who greatly revived Sosu Seowon, because Lee Hwang is largely enshrined in Dosan Seowon in Andong. It can be speculated that this may be the case. In addition, a healing space has been created to purify the body and mind. It reminds me of the ancient scholars who used to clean their bodies and minds in harmony with nature.